Candace Ledergerber. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I'm EMDR trained as well as a yoga teacher. And this video is to give you a good idea about what EMDR is, what this might look like in a group setting versus what it might look like in an individual setting. So this is a short video, and if you are looking for more in-depth information, I'd invite you to read the post below, or you can also contact me with any questions that you may have. I'd be happy to help. So to start with, what EMDR is. So EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. Quite a mouthful, right? But essentially what it means is that EMDR uses what's called bilateral eye movements or bilateral tapping, which kind of looks something like this. Or tapping that looks maybe something like this. To process either traumatic or stressful events that we have stored in our brain, or also to strengthen the connection that we have to positive resources, which is a pretty cool thing. So our brains have a natural system of processing. So that way, as we go through life, we can learn, we can grow, we can become the best humans we can be, right? And we can take all of that from our experiences. But sometimes, unfortunately, what happens is something traumatic happens, or even just something stressful happens that kind of leads us to feel a little out of whack, right? And our brains at that point, either we don't have the information we need in the moment to process the situation, or it might just get overwhelmed with the fact that there's a lot going on and we're trying to survive the moment. So when that happens, this trauma or this stress gets kind of stuck in our brains and in our bodies. And what we see from there is that, during the day we can get triggered. We can feel an intense emotional reaction or an intense physical reaction. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but feeling almost like, oh wow, why did I react that way? Why did I react so strongly? I'm really having a strong physical reaction, right? It might be very visceral. And in those instances, it might be possible that there was some kind of traumatic or stressful experience related that are kind of tied to that reaction that just hasn't been processed. And that's no one's fault. It's just kind of the way our brains work. So that way we can survive and we can get to the next moment, right? So EMDR is a type of therapy that helps process that unresolved stress and that unresolved trauma. So in a group setting, it is different than in an individual setting, obviously, because you're in a group. So I will say right off the bat, in any group EMDR setting or sessions, you are not sharing your trauma with other people, and they're not sharing their trauma with you. Really, how the process is set up, it's quite beautifully designed in that the therapist is guiding the whole group through the process. So every group member can process their stress and their trauma individually, but as a group. And how they do that is working through a worksheet. And you are led through this worksheet with the therapist, and you use the eye movements to be able to decrease your stress level when it comes to thinking about that traumatic stress or that traumatic instance or that stressful instance. Now, I will say what I love about groups is that you don't have to share the trauma. The stress and the trauma is not shared with each other, so we avoid that cross-traumatization. And what's great is we can share the positive. So at the very beginning, the therapist will guide the group through a kind of like guided imagery process where it helps everyone establish a safe and secure place that they can kind of go back to should they feel stressed out, and they can use that place anytime they want, if it's while they're cooking dinner or, just in a messy life moment, or it can be during the group itself if they need a break, right? And from there, The group can also share. They can share positive words from their safe and secure place. So it might be, looking at a loved one's smile. A group member may share something like that, or remembering a hike in the mountains. So just even those little bits and pieces of sharing those positive moments and those positive words can strengthen the group connection as the group processes and heals separately, but together. But what's really great is that you're surrounded by a group of like-minded individuals who are also processing their own stress and their own trauma, and they're searching their way towards healing. So overall, the process allows for each individual to use the eye movements as led by the therapist to bring down the stress level when we're thinking about the traumatic event and find new perspectives. The eye movements, in short, just allow the brain to find new neural pathways so that way we can figure out new perspectives and new ways to look at that event. So that way we can grow from it, we can learn from it, we can leave what we don't need. So I hope this has been helpful. Individual sessions obviously a little bit different in that they are much more customized to where the person is at. In a group setting, it's a little different because it's towards the whole group. But in individual setting and individual sessions, it really depends per therapist, as well as, what the individual person needs. So for me personally, as I start working with someone, I like to get to know, what are their goals? What do they want to accomplish in 3 months or 6 months, or how many ever months down the road? How do they want to feel? What does that look like? And then what's getting in the way of us getting there? What memories might be stopping us from experiencing that life? And then we start to process the things that need to be cleared out. So again, I hope this has been helpful. If you're looking for more information on group EMDR therapy, I really encourage you to read the post below. And as always, if you have any questions about group EMDR therapy or individual therapy, I'd be happy to help with any questions you may have. Thanks so much and have a wonderful day.